the Washington Huskies. Trey, you said a couple of episodes ago, not a Big Ten preview, obviously, that we were high on the Washington Huskies this year. And at the time, I thought, I mean, I think I am, but they're going to have to prove it to me. And the more I dug into the team and what they return and what they bring in, the more I am buying what Jed Fish is trying to build in year two in Seattle. I think Washington has a tremendous ceiling this season. It starts with the quarterback. It starts with Damon Williams Jr. Took over late last season from what everybody thought was a stable quarterback situation, but Williams just ended up being the more athletic and more consistent passer. And you could see that the ceiling that Damon had was going to be the future of the program for the Huskies. And so Jed Fish said, all right, let's roll the dice there. Let's run our young star out there. And it worked. I think you saw a lot of high potential, a lot of flashes there at the end of the season. They only went 6-7, and maybe that was a bigger step backwards than what Huskies fans were hoping after going to the national championship against Michigan, but you lost so much production. And so to even make a bowl game, in my opinion, was a huge win for Jed Fish. This year, you get Jonah Coleman, back at running back. The passing game looks like it's going to continue to soar. The Huskies' defense looks like it might be scary as well. There's a lot to like up in Seattle.
I've upgraded from high on Washington to hot and bothered by Washington.
We like that.
I'm really excited about Damon Williams in this offense. You mentioned Jonah Coleman. Denzel Boston is a great wide receiver to build around. They also got Omari Evans from Penn State, and I think Omari is going to be very excited to be playing in a different offensive scheme and show what he can do. But man, this is a team that went 6-7 last year, yes, but you mentioned the talent drop off, the rebuilding that they were trying to do on the fly. What you didn't mention is against the hardest schedule in the Big Ten, and they went toe to toe with a couple other teams and almost got some wins that would have really started to make some noise on that schedule last year. So I think this is a great team. Offensively, I think they're going to be awesome. I think they're going to be one of the best offenses in the Big Ten. Defensively, got a lot of question marks for me. Only got 20 sacks last year. They lost 3 starters on the defensive line. The linebacker core is a massive question mark to me. But they do at least have something to build around. I'm to the point where I just trust that Washington is going to have a good secondary, because we've seen that across like 3 or 4 straight coaches now, that if all else is going wrong, we can rely on good corners and safeties for the Washington Huskies. But yeah, I think this is going to be a really, really fun team to watch. It's an easier schedule. They do get 5 teams coming off of a bye week this year, which feels really unfair. The opponent is having a bye going into that game. But the 3 games that are going to decide just how good this is. They get Ohio State at home. They're at Michigan. They have Oregon at home to close the year. They get one of those 3. I feel pretty comfortable with them being an 8 or 9 win team. They get 2 of those 3, maybe the home games against Ohio State and Oregon. Playoff? Washington year 2 Jed Fish? I don't know.
It could be on the cards. I think you mentioned the defense is a question mark. I wrote in the preview they could be scary. And Garrett, I think so much of it is going to focus on Ryan Walters coming over from Purdue, where things did not go great, right? 5-19 in 2 years as a head coach. But, and I wrote this respectfully as I could, I said Ryan Walters is exactly where he belongs, coaching a fast, physical defense. And when you look at what they upgraded with in the portal, last year at times they could not stop the run. So what did they do? They went out and got massive human beings to line the defensive line. Transfers from Arizona, from Michigan, from Utah. They did take numerous transfers at the linebacker spot. Maybe some unproven commodities there. But then in the secondary, they got Ephesians Presock to follow Jed Fish last season from Arizona. This year, his former Wildcat running mate, Tacario Davis, also now transfers up to Seattle. Both of the starting corners, Garrett, are in your territory. They're 6'4", giving Washington one of the tallest secondaries in the whole country.
Man, 6'4". That's some tiny guys over there. What are you talking about? No, I'm just kidding. No, those are big dudes, and in a time when big corners are what you're looking for, I'm pumped about that. Look, there's a lot to like with this Washington team. The only thing that's going to make me pump the brakes on them is Washington's one of those teams that you got the new head coach Jed Fish. I know they were just playing in the Natty a couple years ago. That was a different head coach. For me, you got to come take your seat at the table, right? You're not going to get a seat. Nobody's going to hand one out. There's a lot of good teams they got to play. For me, I'm gonna pencil in and kind of write a little firmer. When I say pencil in, I think 8-4 feels really solid right now because they got some bad teams on the schedule. Like they're playing some Marylands and Rutgers and Purdue on there. Like they're gonna beat a bunch of those teams, and that shouldn't be a problem for them. But for me, Ohio State, at Michigan, Illinois, I'm going to put on there as well, and Oregon. Those are 4 games I feel very comfortable saying they're going to lose right now as we sit here in July. I feel very confident saying that they got to come take their seat, right? If they're going to come and take their seat and say that we want to be a conference title contender, a team that's going to make the playoff, you got to go beat one of these teams. Now, yeah, you play 3 of those games at home, and that's got to feel fantastic to know that you get to play 3 of those games in your own place and you can kind of control that. You only have to go to Ann Arbor. But for me, like that's my big point where I'm going to have to kind of just pause on this one. There's a lot to like, right? Jonah Coleman, the running back, fantastic. And we've talked about the quarterback. Like they've got all the pieces that you could ask for. I'm just going to go ahead and say, yeah, but all those teams did it last year. And I know that they have it in them. Washington, you got to show me, right? Go and show me. Go take your seat at that table. And we can start talking about you being one of those top teams in the conference again. But you're going to have to go through the big boys to get there. They didn't get a whole lot of favors with the schedule in that way. They got some bad teams on there, but they play a lot at the top of the conference as well.
Illinois is at home. Is that correct?
Yes, they do play Illinois at home. Yeah.
This is apples and oranges and not a direct comparison, obviously, but we saw Illinois really struggle at times on the road last year, throwing into an elite secondary, right? Against Oregon, Illinois got
They got to get over them tall boys too.
So if they go to Seattle, throwing into a really good secondary, we'll see what they do with the running game. I think Illinois is a fantastic team, but right now, and I kind of alluded to this, I think in the preview, I like the Huskies to pull an upset, like beating Illinois at home, and eight wins feels like kind of the floor to me.
Yeah, of those games, Illinois is your best chance. I mean, obviously, that's not saying much when the other teams are Ohio State, Michigan, and Oregon. Like, your best chance right now is to beat Illinois at home. Right now, I think Illinois is the better team, and they proved it to me last year that they're right now the better team. But again, like, that's your chance to go and prove me wrong and say, hey, I'm going to take my seat and I'm going to jump up this list. Right now, I just trust Illinois with what they have and what they're bringing back more. Though, like, again, like, Washington's got every piece that I want to see to feel good about a team, right? They got a quarterback with a lot of promise. They got good running game. They got good guys outside. Like they've got great pieces. I just want to go see it, right? This is the one team right now that I want to say that I'm high on, but I just got to see it on the field. I got to see it start to get put together. I want to see that offense clicking on all cylinders. I want to see that defense start to attack and get some stuff. I want to see them shut it down in the secondary, right? Make them throw over them tall boys, right? Make it happen, right? And I want to see it happen. And it would be a lot more fun if it did. I don't have any basis to say that I trust that that'll happen over those other 4 teams on the schedule right now. So I'm going to be a little bit of voice of reason. I like Washington. I like a lot of the pieces. I'm just going to voice the reason right now and say, hey, let's just pump the brakes on. We've done a couple teams in a row where we're like, hey, Minnesota, that's pretty good. Hey, Nebraska, they're going to be pretty good too. Okay, hold on. Let's pump the brakes. Not all these teams can win 10 games this year.
Wait till you hear my Iowa thoughts.
Uh-oh, here we go.
I was going to say, you say voice of reason, we say hater, but we will move on.
I'll be the hater. It's okay.